see, I have a
Marie.
question.
Yeah.
I noticed that the themes of the pieces on the left and then on the right seem to be unique.
Yeah.
And so I wondered, out of all of those 4,000 pieces that you saw, what made you choose these particular themes?
I didn't choose because of the team. I choose because of the form and you know, the way they work together. Because we have like 300 blacks and whites drawing like this in the house. So, and you don't have one theme. I mean, Eugene worked with very different things. I mean, he did a lot of birds, for example, the dancing string beans, it looks like birds too. So I choose very different things to show a lot about Eugene. On the little brown drawings, those are earlier drawings compared to black and white. And you know, it's really full of life too, really different. So I choose the strongest one, the one that I really love, and I think they have aesthetic qualities. So yeah, these. Yeah.
But there was a little technique here. I mean, these are done with bamboo. What you were
Yeah,
talking
it's
about?
brown pink and little bamboo sticks. So that's why you can see like those kind of details because he did that with the bamboo stick. Yeah.
The art is very fun, and his self-portraits are very severe.
Yeah, the self-portraits of the two oldest pieces in the show, they are from '67, and at the time he was doing like realist drawings and everything, so they are really intense. He said that when he was younger, he was much more serious and less fun, and you can see as you go along, and it's getting funnier and funnier. So that's the
Could
oldest
you tell
piece.
a little bit about his early life? I mean, it's really kind of tragic.
Yeah, he had a tragic life. His mom died when he was 4 years old, and his dad was a jazz musician, but he was all around, so he didn't keep the kid with him. So when his mom died, he was in foster care.
Age of
And
4.
yeah, he was 4 years old and was really, really difficult. And he ended up in a farm in Maryland, and he stayed there most of his young life. And then after that, he went to the Navy to get an education. He was hoping to get an art education after that. And then he was I mean, after two weeks, he was done with the Navy, and they said he was an artist. He had too much imagination, so he wasn't good enough for them, and so he wasn't Navy material. So he came back to Washington, and he went to the Corcoran School of Art. And when he was done with his training, he decided to be a full-time artist and to take all the consequences, good or bad.
What year was that?
He left the Corcoran School in '63.
By the way, so you all may know a little bit about the Corcoran. I'm originally from DC. You know, they used to say that Corcoran had that like one black rule. You know, they would have like one black student every year, at most like two at that time. And so that was a pretty big deal for him to get
Yeah, his
to be
teachers
that.
were really impressed with him. He was really good, but he would want to remain free at all times. So if he didn't want to play any games and to be like, you know, in favor with some people to get a show or something, he wanted to remain free and do what he liked. So yeah, it was really hard at times. He was living with friends, or at times he was homeless. And we have pictures. He was drawing in parks and everything. So that's why at some period you have only drawing, because that was the only thing he could afford. He didn't have the money and the studio to have big paintings. And then after that, he met Suzanne in '82. They got married in '88. Yeah, and after that, you know, it was much more comfortable. They had a house and everything, and so he was able to work on big canvases like those. So those two was from '94, much more recent work, and those are from 2000 and 2001. And in 2001, he had a stroke. So he continued painting. His work is really different. We didn't show it here, but we have really a lot. And so, I mean, yeah, there is so much. It was really funny. You can see he did those photos and everything. He did, I mean, he worked with everything he could find. And it didn't matter. I mean, it was paper or canvas or anything. He just created. So it was the important thing.
We should also say Suzanne is like the algae lady here. She's a major researcher at the University of Louisiana Lafayette. Studies algae in the Gulf, and when she's not doing Eugene art, she's up somewhere getting samples in the Gulf. And that's why we actually had the reception today, because she was supposed to be out on a boat somewhere. So now, would you like to say a few words, please?
Yes.
And the first time I met Eugene, I didn't know of him, but I saw somewhere a whole little stack of drawings. You don't have those little drawings here with graphite? I fell in love with those drawings before I even met Eugene. And then one day he just showed up. Meeting someone, and I happened to be there, so I already knew about those little drawings. And there, the most handsome person I have ever seen in my life. And so that was it. We clicked right away. That was it. So sweet. Yeah. So it was just wonderful. You can tell just from looking at those drawings and those paintings. He was always so positive. He was so happy just to live. And so he had such a horrible childhood. And so he says, once I've done that, everything else is easy. So whatever happened, he was very happy. And yeah, you can see what a wonderful person he was. Just living with someone like that. Like Marie said, he said when he was young, he was actually old. And he became younger and younger. And some of the older...
I see a movie.
He kept that childlike quality, of wonder and everything. And then it was fantastic, I think, after he got his brain hemorrhage and stroke, 2001, December 2001, then he started to make the most free and wonderful paintings. Such freedom, we don't see the ones after the stroke, those were all done before the stroke. But then it's fantastic. So the last works, it's like an explosion of color, of happiness. It's extraordinary. Because most people, when they feel you're dying, they get bitter, and no, him, it was just the opposite. He was a free and happiest person.
We're toying with calling this show a free man of color.
Yeah.
But
He was the freest man. He was the freest man in all types of colors.
yeah. In every sense of the
In
word.
every sense of the word. And
Yeah.
he had no regrets in his life. He did exactly what he wanted to do. So you cannot be freer than that. So like she said, he took the consequence when he was 20 years old. I'm going to be a painter no matter what. He was homeless, he was not, it didn't matter to him. For him, he was so, he knew what he wanted. And somehow everything fell in shape. Because he had so much faith in himself, he knew he was good. And so no matter what, so that means he was open to meeting people, he was not afraid of anything. And then you see it through his art. So it was just wonderful. And he's still so alive, when I see his paintings, it's like you come in the house and it's wonderful. He's there, his whole spirit is there. It's just fantastic. And he was very happy when he died. He was not afraid, nothing. He was just, so he lived like he lived like he wanted to live.
And it's so nice to know of artists who are well liked in their lifetime, and for that matter, understood too.
Yeah, because when he was like 5 years old, people were like beating him, and so and he felt sorry for the people who abused him. And normally a little kid, they always think, oh, poor me. No, he said, oh, those poor people, they are beating me, they are hurting me. He felt sorry for them. At 5 years old, so already he was an exceptional person, so much. A little shrink, and he had so much understanding about everything, so that's how he could cope with everything. He was really a remarkable person.
Well, thank you so much.
Tell us about the title, Dancing Stripping.
Well, you know, Eugene would not put titles in his works except when they had to go to a show. Because sometimes, if people saw those titles, they would just look at the title and try to find the title of the work. But somehow he always had those funny titles. And the few titles you had was kind of funny. And so he put Dancing Spring Green, you know,
It's one drawings up there. Yeah.
and it was a fun.
Yeah. I wanted to have a title.
Because it's dancing, Jazz Fest is coming up. Spring beans is the food of New Orleans. So it all makes a lot of sense. And so it's just fit.
Yeah.
Plus, she lives in Lafayette, which is zydeco country, and you know zydeco means
Zydeco, that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
Zydeco music, so
The dancing swing bean. Can you say something about the Duchess of Texas? That's so funny.
there she is.
Yeah.
The Duchess of Texas. High on the throat there. Don't mess with Texas. There she is. Don't mess with the Duchess of Texas. Yeah.
Well, we have plenty more drinks and plenty
Marie
more
is,
food.
I would say Marie is the person who picked all the,
Yes.
who made the
Yeah.
selection. And those were the two of her favorite.
Yeah, I started building the exhibition around this painting, The Happy Bartender. It's one of my favorite, and I really wanted it in the show. So I was like, okay, I choose this one first, and then the rest came.
Encore là? Voilà. Ça, je commence avec le truc, ok? Je commence comme ça et puis je monte et je fais pas mal.
See you. See you, Jane.